Tag TV brings you daily news bulletin from India. Breaking news and views from India. You're watching South Asian Newsline, and here the top stories we are tracking for you on Wednesday, the 12th of February. PM Modi pays tribute to fallen Indian soldiers of the Great War in France. Pakistan PM Sharif meets IMF chief, discusses reforms to ensure economic stability. And millions take holy bath on auspicious full moon day at India's Kumbh Mela. And now for all the details. Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi, who was on official visit to France on Wednesday, visited the historic Margis Cemetery in Marseille city along with French President Emmanuel Macron and paid tributes to the Indian soldiers who made sacrifices fighting in the Great War. At a solemn ceremony held at the site, Modi led a wreath composed of tricolour-themed flowers. A large number of Indian soldiers are commemorated in this war cemetery that is maintained by the Commonwealth War Graves Commission. Modi also inaugurated the new Indian consulate in Marseille and interacted with the Indian diaspora of the region. Earlier on Tuesday, Modi co-chaired the AI Action Summit along with Macron. The two leaders also held discussions in both restricted and delegation formats and addressed the India-France CEOs Forum. This is Modi's sixth visit to France. He will later travel to the United States for a two-day visit. Pakistan's Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif on Wednesday assured IMF's Managing Director Kristalina Georgieva that the South Asian nation would continue with reforms to ensure economic stability. Shehbaz Sharif, during a meeting with Georgieva on the sidelines of the World Government Summit in Dubai, discussed Pakistan's ongoing IMF program and the macroeconomic stability achieved through the government's comprehensive reform agenda. A three-member IMF mission is also in Pakistan to conduct a governance and corruption diagnostic assessment under the 2024 Extended Fund Facility Program. Islamabad, currently bolstered by a $7 billion facility from the IMF granted in September, is navigating an economic recovery. The IMF is set to review Pakistan's progress by March, with the government and central bank expressing confidence about meeting its targets. The UN Human Rights Chief Volker Turk said on Wednesday there are reasonable grounds to believe officials of the former government of Bangladesh and security apparatus committed serious human rights violations against anti-government protesters last summer. A fact-finding report found that certain crimes against humanity have been committed, the High Commissioner for Human Rights told reporters in Geneva. The report estimates that as many as 1,400 people may have been killed between July 1st and 15th of August, and thousands were injured, the vast majority of whom were shot by Bangladesh's security forces. Of these, the report indicates that as many as 12 to 13% of those killed were children. Bangladesh police reported that 44 of its officers were killed. The report also documents cases in which security forces denied or obstructed critical medical care for injured protesters. It states the best way forward for Bangladesh is to conduct a comprehensive process of truth-telling, healing and accountability. A coalition of 123 organizations across the United States has urged the Congress to reverse President Trump's executive order realigning U.S. RAP, which has suspended the U.S. refugee admissions program and halted humanitarian assistance. One of the most affected groups is Afghan refugees, many of whom have been waiting for over 3 years in Pakistan for resettlement in the U.S. These refugees, particularly women, are now at risk of deportation back to Afghanistan, where they face imminent threats from the Taliban. Reports suggest the plight of Afghan refugees in Pakistan has worsened due to the suspension of the refugee program. Many refugees are running out of financial resources and legal documentation, making them vulnerable to deportation by Pakistani authorities. These individuals and families were already living in precarious conditions and now face further uncertainty as they are forced to return to a country plagued by conflict and persecution. The suspension has significantly impacted Afghan refugees, particularly those who assisted US military operations. The coalition of 123 organizations advocating for the reinstatement of US RAP emphasize that halting refugee resettlement not only harms vulnerable population but also undermines US interest abroad. Sri Lanka's capital Colombo came alive on Tuesday with the sounds of drums and colorful lights as crowds gathered to watch majestic elephants and performers dance on the streets to mark Navampera. The two-day annual Buddhist festival features decorated elephants as well as traditional dance and musical performances. The festival also fosters unity and harmony between communities as Buddhists, Hindus, Muslims and Christians all gather to display their cultural heritage in the process. A lot of foreign tourists also witnessed the event.
This is my first experience and it's a privilege to be part of the whole culture of Sri Lanka and to be assaulted by my senses with all the noise and the colours and the smells and the joy. So thank you for this lovely privilege.
So it's first time for me to see this traditional performance. I found it very impressive. And it's nice to see how the culture is still living in everyday life. So I found the color is very nice, and the performance is very nice, and the elephant is very impressive as well. It's very nice to see it. I'm happy.
And millions of devout Hindus on Wednesday flocked the Mahakumbh in India's Prayagraj on the auspicious occasion of Magh Purnima to take a holy dip in the sacred rivers. Take a look.
More than 10 million devout Hindus took a dip at the confluence of sacred rivers in India's Prayagraj during a span of 4 hours on Wednesday, as authorities braced for millions more to swarm the site of the Kumbh Mela on the full moon day of Magh Purnima, considered extremely auspicious. Authorities stepped up security measures and put air ambulances on standby. Hindus believe that a plunge in the waters where the Ganga, Yamuna and the mythical Saraswati meet absolves them of sin, but they consider this year's event even more significant as having the power to free them of the cycle of rebirth.
जिसको महापूर्णिमा स्नान था, जो व्यवस्था थी वो काफ़ी अच्छी थी और हमारा स्नान 4 बजे हमने 4 बजे स्नान किया था और सब कुछ आज काफ़ी अच्छे से हुआ.
बहुत अच्छा था, बहुत खुश लोग थे स्नान करने वाले, बहुत अच्छा लग रहा था. हमने 11 डुबकियां लगाई, बहुत आनंद आया.
Maintaining safety can prove a challenge during Kumbh, despite stringent precautions. More than 30 people were killed in a stampede on January 29, as over 76 million flocked to Prayagraj for a royal dip.
That's all in tonight's edition. We will see you same time tomorrow. Good night.
Tag TV brings you daily news bulletin from India. Breaking news and views from India.